You have been in government and you understand the system, obviously. Even in and out of government, you understand the system and you're still in tune with, trends and happenings in the country. So the next question will be, how do we tackle, because this whole thing boils down to corruption. How do we tackle corruption such that, I like the way you're laughing.
Now, anybody who's good, anybody who's going to fight corruption, as Mr. President said, if you don't fight corruption, you don't kill it, it will kill you. This statement was made by General Mahdi, who was known to be 100%, though a human being. His integrity is quite unquestionable, is well established, is known, accepted by his friend as well as his enemies. But unfortunately, even now, if you are telling the truth, your critics, most of them will not like you. They will say, this is a madman. When they see you come, they say, oh, no, shut up. Don't allow her to hear us. But we believe Zalunchi, I don't know how to call it in English, will never last. And that is our belief in Islam. Anybody who is tyrant, anybody who is embezzler, anybody who is cheating, a thief, their end, it will not last.
So you have taken it to the religious
yes.
perspective.
Yeah.
So, but now, people would say that one of the biggest problems we have in this part of the world, I'm not talking of Nigeria alone, Africa, is religion.
Well,
yes, because what we cannot understand, what we cannot solve, what we cannot, we just throw it at religion.
My daughter, what? When you don't have an immediate answer, you have to cite those things. Because things are not good. I know things are not good. But even if you talk, maybe the tyrants would be after you.
So do you have a solution to tackling corruption?
Yes, I said, well, we have institutions. They are not allowed to work. They are not allowed to work. You understand? Look at our corruption fighters. Since the formation of EFCC, take from the first one, with only who? Rivado. He started doing very well. He indicted 30 sitting governors. So even if he indicted them, where he cannot do anything, he has to head to court. If he takes them to court, he has no hand anymore. The court will release them. Not outrightly, through long adjournments. And nobody can correct them. Because that is their duty. That is their duty, legally. You follow me?
I get it. I get it.
There are certain cases I know of this sort of thing. They have been going in court for more than 20 years. So at the time a decision is taken, the gentleman has even forgotten the offense. So justice denied. Is it? Justice delayed.
Is justice denied.
My daughter. Ribadu gone. They put Farida. Farida also gone. They put Baku. Gone. Maku, I even called him Chinaka and Chinaka. Do you know Chinaka? By Sanagidaba. And compromising. Why is it doing? They put this young man, very good, well talented, this Bawa. Where is Bawa now? We are in a vicious circle. Murtala came out, late Murtala, to fight corruption. He fights all the governors. But what happened to him? He was killed on the street.
So we will continue to put it in the hands of God?
God has given you the ability. God has given you the conscience, has given you everything. And the procedures, everything is also there. It's for you to execute, good or bad.
I want to ask you this question, and it has to do with the previous conversation we had earlier, which was, do you think the North on its own can win an election in this country?
Yeah. The provision of the Constitution were there. You cannot win, but you can influence it. Alone, no. Because you have to get 25% of the total votes in 20 cast in 24 states and 25% in FCT. This is the law. You have to have alliances.
Given our peculiar geographical and tribal divides, which particular region will the North naturally align with?
Okay, let me be frank with you. The First Republic started with NCNC because Awolo at that time wanted to go alone. He couldn't make it. So it has got to be a coalition, as we have seen. Even that alliance, go and check, collapsed. During Shagari, also, it was done with the NPP. It collapsed. Shagari was rescued by the elements of NEFU, PRP, and elements of Waziri Ibrahim from the north to help him. So we do not, to be frank with you. Then, when Sheikh Yadra came, he collected us, he invited us. He said, look, we want to create a stable country. We should not afford to abandon the Yorubas for obvious reasons. So he wanted to go along that path. But unfortunately, he was killed. Who killed him? We killed him. Abacha imprisoned him on suspicion that he wanted to either encourage the young officers in the army or to answer for the government. In any case, he was a threat to Abacha, and Abacha wanted to continue. So he was arrested. Eventually, he was killed in prison. No section of this country in democracy will get or be elected as president without the active and positive support of the North. Nobody. Even this one.
So if the North wants to stretch hand of fellowship, where would they be looking? Is it the southwest?
I will not personally.
The southeast? South?
If I had my way, I would do it, because already Niger Delta was our true and traditional alliance. We will go with them. We will go with the Igbos. I will not go with the Igbos. I'm speaking honestly from the bottom of my heart. The people who come and kill your political leaders deliberately, in cold blood, deliberately, in order to dominate not only the country but the North entirely. In addition, to make sure that they effect that domination They also killed all our top military officers. Why? Why shall I go back and fight them? People like me will not.
Where does forgiveness come into this?
Forgiveness, I'm a human being. I can, you can forgive, but you will never forget. You can forgive, but you will never forget. A person who cheated you, you will never forget. You can forgive him, but you will never forget. A people who is kind to you, you will never, you will always be with him. My daughter. It's as simple as that.
Do you think there can be true reconciliation?
I don't know. I don't know.
Because why I'm asking this question is, I'm not talking for myself, I'm representing Nigerians here. Why I'm asking this question is, these people who actually committed these crimes against a particular sect are dead, long dead.
It doesn't matter.
And they did it deliberately to bring up, to make their own people dominate the other components of this country. Let me tell you, when I was in Kano in 1953, the whole of Kano Sabangari market was populated by the Igbos. And there were also balloons at that time. One Nigeria, because they are dominating everything. Eh? Then, when they discovered that people like Daura has come out, North for the northern Nigerians, not because they hate Igbos or they hate Yorubas, no. We have to start growing. He has to nurture us. He has to bring us up to be at par when things would be free for all. So would this be a case of the sins of the father being visited upon the sons?
Well, you are quite right. You are quite, it should not be so. Even in Quran, it should not be so. But we are human beings, my dear friend. I said something good or bad will never be forgotten. It can be forgiven, but never will be forgotten. And whenever you think about it, it comes up, you become agitated. You become resentful, hateful. My daughter, if we want this country to succeed, we should be our brothers' keepers. If I have as right something from you, you don't have to see me. You give it to me automatically. But it's not so.
You know, I like the way you talk. You're very blunt.
Oh, yes.
And I want to ask you this question based on that bluntness. Is it true that, because we've been hearing it, you know, people hear it and people argue in pockets and all of that. Is it true that the typical Fulani man never forgives?
Go and read what Lord Delegate said. Don't be quarreled with him. He will never forgive you. He will forever retaliate. Even if he does not do it today, tomorrow, or 1 year, he will do it. Lugard said it, write it, he put it in writing.
But ironically, from what you have said, yes, the North and the East, there is some mixed bad blood there between the North and the East.
Is not some. There is a concrete, indelible, black spot. And you know, when you have a scar, like this one, you'll never erase it, can you?
No, unless you do surgery.
It will not disappear. Still, it will show.
So can we do a surgical operation to merge this?
The surgery is changing, if we can, our attitude to see me as your own brother, as your own sister, to also fight for me, for my rights, when my rights are not even you to take it away from me.
Haven't you seen any form of repentance? I mean, since those
where?
events happened, from the Eastern Bloc?
I have not seen it. Yes, we are put together as a country. Yes, by God. Allah knows the wisdom behind it. Today, if you go to Enugu or Onitsha, anywhere in the southeast, you don't see a shop belonging to another Nigeria. Whether he's a Christian, whether he's a Muslim, whether he's a pagan. As long as he comes from the north, no. Go and check. But as you said, here we are because we are broad-minded. We are peace-loving people. We are very accommodating. But unfortunately, you see, we have some people like me. Allah has not given us to be in a position of power. Even if we are in power, we are not, we are just advisors.
Okay, now that you have said that, I'd like to take you up on this word called cabal. Who really are the cabals?
I don't know, go and search for them. Go and search for them.
Because, you know,
it's a coinage. Is sort of a figment of imagination, or public imagination.
Is it just a figment
no.
of an imagination?
Yes, it is. It is.
So how would you respond to those who see you as one of the cabals during the Muhammad Buhari's administration?
As I said to you, is figment of the imagination. They can say so, because I have access. And from time I can advise one or two. Maybe he takes it, maybe he doesn't take it. Myself, if I see a thing, it is good, I don't have to talk about it. But if it is something that is correctable, we say, this is done in a bad way. We should do it that way.
You know, you were one of those reportedly mentioned in the papers as
I
one
know.
of, yes,
I
you were
know.
one, yes, because of course we read some of these things, and now that we're talking to you, it's a good time to set the record straight.
You see, my dear, we have been best of friends from student days. We are very close, very, very close. And I know him very well, and he knows very well. If you say a thing, I know what he will do, and I know what he will not do. He's a very simple person, but tough. If he takes a decision, you can't change it. But within kidding age, a lot has happened. A lot of bridge has gone down the bridge.
So what would be your assessment of his stewardship for the 8 years that he served?
Anyway, he has now gone, isn't it? And people now will start assessing whether he has done very well or he's not done very well. As a friend, I don't have to assess him. I will leave it for people to assess him.
As a Nigerian, if you want to be dispassionate, don't look at him as a friend now.
Yes, you see, sometimes you cannot separate this passion and you can't separate them. You cannot. But you can only minimize. You can also separate it a bit. But you can't take it out altogether, no.
Let's go back to that time when you were the Minister for Agriculture and Development, Rural Development. You also served. You were part of government at some time. Now, looking at, you know, why are you laughing? It's as if you're preempting. It's like you're preempting my question. Okay, let me put it this way now. How would you assess your own stewardship during your time as a
I will
minister
not
for
assess
agriculture?
myself.
In hindsight,
I always leave people like you and other people to assess whether I have done well or I have done very badly, whether I have disappointed people or not. It is you who will assess.
were
not
you
me.
satisfied with your service to nation?
Well, absolutely satisfied in one thing, that I have never collected a single kobo from anybody in order to support him. And even Musaja knows this, my colleagues know this.
Let's talk about your relationship with Obasanjo. You know, there's one particular one that keeps it. Sometimes when people remember your name, do you know what they remember? That you stormed out of a meeting for a particular reason. And the question is, what is your relationship with him?
He's my boss. I like him. He's got so many good qualities, as well as bad ones. So I respect him. And I'm polite to him. And I carry out his instructions.
And your working relationship with him?
Oh yes, very nice.
But you stormed out of a meeting one particular
That
time.
is different. That is different.
Was it on principle or just convictions?
Take it either way.
It's you. You are the person now.
No, but you are the best judges. But he is my boss. I like him. He's a very hard-working person. And he believes in one united Nigeria.
It then means that there's reconciliation.
Hmm?
It then means that there's been reconciliation.
Yeah, we have never parted ways. It's a matter of opinion, my daughter. It's opinion. If you are convinced you are doing the right thing, you say the bitter truth to the authorities. They will respect you. We are not psychopaths. Even when we go there, we are not psychopaths. Before I served under him, I served under late Brigadier Bakari. I was conscripted in his government. I did not ask. I was there working as ADO, a district officer in Western Bow. But I stayed here for about between 8 and 9 years. And up to today, we are together with his family. He is dead now, about 2-3 years ago.
It was also alleged that you worked against his third term bid. How true is that?
Yeah. Why should I tell? He has, look, when Obasanjo was taken out of prison, was pardoned, and cleaned up, one of his cleaners telephoned me while I was in London. This is our project. And because of the 3 people, we accepted him. But even there, Yoruba did not accept him. Myself, Ango, and General Aliu, and quite a few others from the north, we went when he launched his bid. No prominent Turabaki, only drummers. So that is answer your question. We are kingmakers. We are kings and also kingmakers. We are kings and also kingmakers. Nobody will become a president in this country without Ariwa. Nobody. They know. Okay, my daughter?
You know, when I grow up, I want to be like you. So do you believe in this true federalism that people preach about?
Well, I don't know what they mean by true federalism. They have to explain to us. But I think at first, that was what was practiced at first, because each region had its own constitution. But later on, all these have been abandoned, and a national one was created, debated, and then agreed upon. and then promulgated on.
So this democracy that we practice today, some have said it is rather expensive. What is your opinion about that?
My opinion, we should go back to Westminster type. It's less costly and less divisive. Let me tell you one thing. In 1977, is it? Am I correct?
1977.
1977,
Yes.
Yes, 1977 to 78. I was a delegate to Constituent Assembly, where we discussed the draft constitution, debated and prepared by the 49 wise men, the drafting committee, which was supposed to have been headed by late Chief Awolowo, but because he was not given advance information or asked, he declined to serve as chairman of the drafting committee. But Williams, the law, Rotimi Williams, so became the chairman. So we went for 1 year to debate. Because at that time, it was the idea of late Murtala Muhammad that Nigeria is a very huge and great country. And therefore, we should have a strong leader. Hence, he advocated for presidential system copying the American type. So at that debate, during that debate for 1 year, because that is the direction of the government, most of us felt, yes, it's quite right, there must be a strong president, leader for the country, speaking for the whole country, and on behalf of the country, on behalf of the people, for common good. So at that time, late Dr. Tahir came out. He opposed this presidential system, and he told us his reasons. Now we have seen the reasons that it is not suitable for us at all. Now, so we went with the presidential system, but there was a lone voice against it. Now in 1994-95, during Abacha regime, there was this also, this constitutional conference. I also happen to be a member. Again, the question of this presidential system or Westminster type of government, what do you call it? It's presidential system, parliamentary. This question also came up. But unfortunately for the country, still the majority, except Mahmoud Atta and a few others, who also advocated for a return to parliamentary democracy. Again, there were lone voices. But today, if I think we would put it to the people, a sort of plebiscite, Nigerians will opt to go back to parliamentary system, not presidential system. But it can hardly be changed by our National Assembly as well as state assemblies, because they are benefiting. Even if some people cry against it, because they are the most beneficiary of the system, they will still like the same system to continue reaping where they have not planted, taking something which they ought to have taken at the expense of their constituencies. And unfortunately, as you said, because of the manipulation of the system, because possibly of poverty, because possibly of ignorance, people do not know their rights. Even if they know, they are not prepared to sit down and fight. Let me tell you one thing. We tried, in order to have somewhat presence of democracy in our elections. Mr. President Buhari took, I think, made executive orders, 2 of them, I think, or 3. One, independence of state judiciary, financial independence of all those state assemblies. That will curtail the usurped powers, because they usurped by governors. That will possibly reduce their local influence so that people will be free to elect their representatives. They took him up to the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court, according to them, sided with the governors. This is another way of curtailing the old, powerful governor who regard themselves as many gods in their respective states. Again, we wanted to see the state INEC should be abolished. Let that state election to state assembly, etc., be conducted by INEC. Maybe there may be some sense or responsibility. There may be also some freedom of people to be allowed to elect the people they think should be elected by them. All these are reforms which, if done, would bring some sanity in the system, but they refused. So, as you said, why is the solution? So I would ask you, because I am now in my evening. You are the young people who are coming up. It is up to you to fight it, to get out of that man-made bondage.
You know, let's go to food security. You were once the Minister for Agriculture, and food security was one of your mandates to ensure that, we attain that level of food security. And over the years, we've been having these herder-farmer clashes, people invading farms and people killing cows. So it's been a tug of war between these two very critical subsector. How would you address it?
Well, first of all, my daughter, when we were together with Obasanjo, myself as Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, do you know our percentage of the total national budget? Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, water resources and environment, these are key for agriculture. The whole budget put together was 3% of the total national budget. It was later when Umaru came that agriculture started to get a lot of boost. And we tried, even during our time, to create what they have created already, TED fund for agriculture. We take it to council, they agree, but later abandoned. So to cut matter short, it's unfortunate the local government reforms was really, the main objective behind it, we are also behind it, was to really give the rural population a new lease of life by creating local governments, giving them almost autonomous status, getting the allocation directly from the federal government, so that they can take good, responsible people. And I see it to me, even at that time. And I said it, that to me, local governments are retiring posts for those civil servants who are good and retired. At that time, they are not looking for anything. They are not looking for a new wife. They are not looking for a new house. They are not looking for a car. They are looking for anything. So they will come and apply themselves and apply their resources in the best way to develop those areas so that they reduce the rural migration into cities or urban centers. That was the main intention, so that they can have good roads, they can hire good engineers, good quantity surveyors. Their staff in qualification and content would be almost the same with the staff working in the state government. So they will have hospitals, good roads, etc. But unfortunately, along the line, their funds have been hijacked by the governors, and they cannot do anything. So, repeat the question.
Engendering food security in the face of
so when I
farmer-herder clash.
Yes, when I'm talking about local government reforms. So before the local government reforms, in our own areas, particularly in the north, under the so-called native authorities, emirate system, there is what we call gandundaji. There were cattle routes, track routes. There were grazing areas. There were also watering areas. So at that time, there was no conflict. But when the reforms came, the powers of these emirs were taken away. And somewhere they were distributed between the state government and local government. So the local government became in charge of land, local government chairman. And many of them at less than 80 years, less than 30 years, some of them have not married. So that the security in them is not there. So they started selling these grazing areas, selling it. What do you call it, gazetted for government forest, not even de-gazetting them. They have not, because they don't know. It's part of the law, you have to change it, but they don't know. All these are abandoned. So hence you get now our cattle rearers, they don't have where to go to rear their cattle or to water them. If you go from here to Kaduna, you will see them, even here in Abuja, you will see them sometimes roaming about, picking the grass that they are able to see. So this is the beginning of this conflict. But Jeremiah, when he was there, he directed that all the gazetted grazing areas, watering areas, etc., should be recovered. But whether they have put a machinery to do that I don't know. So we will continue with this battle until the governors, because in the north we have more than enough forest areas in large sizes which can accommodate most of our cattle rearers, most of our cattle flannies. But right now, as I'm talking, there is a postal settlement in Kachia, a very large area, where the flannies are there, their cattle are there, their farms are there, their grazing areas are there, their watering areas are there. And I think partly, somewhere in Kebbi. But as I said, depends on the governors. When this was coming on, at one time I was talking to Bagudu, the former governor of Kebbi. He said, look, we have to start ourselves to accommodate these people. When people from the south are saying, Fulani is Mansab, and Benue is saying, go back to your land, go back to your area. So the question of food security will be really difficult to achieve, because the small farmers, now that has been accentuated by Boko Haram and bandits. Bandits, we don't know about them until recently in all these border states, Zamfara, Katsina, Sokoto, Kebbi. The only place I think is Jigawa that is spared. But these bandits are known, surprisingly, and despite the government might and resources, they have not been able to be put down. They are known. Taking people, kidnapping people, and saying you have to pay ransom, and the money will be paid. And the authorities know where they are.
You just mentioned that these people are known.
Oh, yes.
Is it lack of political will to fetch them out and flush them out? Or is it a question of not having the ability to do so?
It's unfortunately the whole thing has been commercialized. It's unfortunate, and it is true. Our forces, long time ago, not even now, our known Nigerian army is known to be a very good, responsible, hard-fighting force, and they were called in many countries for peacekeeping. They are known to be very good. They are known to fight it out and get them and win the situation. But at home, because it has been commercialized, we have not been we have not been able to achieve anything. But there must be sabotage within the forces. There must be sabotage. General Abacha said, if such kind of insurgent appears and the government orders to be crushed, and it was not crashed within 24 hours. So there must be something
within
somewhere, yes.
I remember that quote. It says, "Come when a crisis fester for too long, you know government is involved."
Yes.
I remember that quote. There are so many questions that I would love to ask you.
Next day, we don't have to take
Yes, I know that.
I was supposed
to
go and pray, but you kept me. Eh?
I know that. I know. So many questions, and
keep them. Once we are alive, we will answer them.
Continue to answer. What do you do these days? Are you still active or passive, or just retired?
I'm not passive. I'm not passive at all. At all. I'm very active, and my brain is also active.
In politics?
Well, politics from behind, yes.
When you were growing up as a young man, you had dreams, you had aspirations, and I'm sure that's what probably inspired that resilience, and that affirmative, disposition to social issues that you've carried on up until this time. Now, you had dreams about Nigeria. Would you say those dreams have changed? Do you still believe in that Nigerian dream?
Well, you see, yes. I would like to see a very strong, united, prosperous Nigeria, where nobody is oppressed. But unfortunately, that is not what we are getting. That is not what we are getting.
But it begins with you. That dream will begin with you. And it starts from forgiving and forgetting.
Forgive, yes, forgive. My daughter, forget about forgetting. You will never forget. Good or bad thing done to you. You will never forget it. You can forgive. But you will never, as a human being, forget it. Because it is done. That is why I show you a mark here.
And I also told you about surgery.
Surgery,
that you can correct
even if you do, it doesn't quite.
You can clean up in modern day.
Look at this achampo, you call it achampo. This lady.
Okay.
This lady was CNN.
Which
Amampo,
one?
is it?
Amampo, oh yeah,
Amampo,
Christiana Amampo.
Every time surgery. But still it shows. But every time she will go for surgery, remove this, put this, and everybody knows.
So let's even try that one. Let's try surgery.
Well, it is my prayer. I'm not altogether, but I'm still hopeful. We have to continue hoping because things do change. Sometimes you get some people coming with such ideas of unity, of brotherhood and sisterhood, and promote it and keep to it.
And on that note, we want to say thank you so much for being part of Conversation with History. It's been a learning curve for me, and I'm sure for a lot of Nigerians who have listened to you. Because at one time you were so feisty, at one time you were so passionate, at one time I saw a technicolor of your emotions, play out. And for that, we want to say thank you for being honest. Thank you for being expressive. Thank you for saying it as it is, because for you to heal, it starts with truth. And that's why there's something called truth and reconciliation. You've got to say it as it is, and then from there you can now begin to build, heal, and unite. And so thank you so much for that, for having us here.
THECLA is tackling everything that comes in. You see my impression about you, a very young, resourceful young lady, committed also to your job. You know how to approach your job. You know how to conduct it. And you make also the interview very lovely, very likable, by from time to time cracking jokes into it and smiling with their nice teeth. So that is also added to the beauty of the interview. It's an excellent idea, because what we are talking, what I said now, quite a number of Nigerians do not know it. Even my own children do not know it. One, they don't read. They don't even bother to know what happened in the past. Yesterday, somebody said, he's a journalist. He came to me. And there was a photograph of Premier. He didn't know who killed Premier. And he's around 50 or even more. So our people, because we don't teach our boys history, they don't know it. But now that it is out, if it happens that when they are airing it out, they're around and they're interested to listen, so they may benefit. And they may know that, yes, they have learned a lot. So my praise is that you keep it up and you try to look for old people like ourselves who will look at you or your question and go straight and answer them straight. That will bring some understanding of some issues in the past, and possibly try, if there are certain mistakes, to see that they do not do such mistakes. Those mistakes are not repeated. It's superb. The interview is superb.
And so I want to thank you so much for being part of Conversation with History. It's been a learning curve for me, and I'm sure for a lot of Nigerians who are tuned on to the program right now. I want to thank you for sharing your wealth of knowledge.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you even more for having this interview, from which I think many people will know a lot of things which they don't know.
And so we want to thank you so much for being part of Conversation with History. Until next time, when we come up with another guest, like I'd always say, be kind to one another and stay well. And so we do the...
And thank you very much.
Okay.